This is The Basketball Show with Shane the Hammer Heel and Steve Mr. Magic Garfino. Brought to you by Unibet, TCL Plex, and News Corp. What they gonna say next?
Hello and welcome to The Basketball Show, brought to you by our sponsors, of course, Unibet, TCL Plex smartphones, and News Corp. It's the business end of the season, so let's get down to business. Shane Hill, man.
The NBL is happening, mate. It's money time.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, let's get on to a hot topic right away. The Australian team.
Boomers.
The Boomers. Okay. All right. We've got a lot of guys with NBA experience.
Yep.
You know, long gone are the days where you just say we have a shot just because we got Luke Longley on the team. He played with the Bulls in the NBA. We got all kind of NBA talent. So here's one for you right here. Matisse Thybulle. That's the first time I've ever really heard his name, but apparently he's eligible to play for Australia.
Well, I read an article from the guys at Pick and Roll just to get a bit of an understanding, because I hadn't heard of him or understood his history. And apparently he's American-born and lived in America with his family till he was 2, relocated to Australia for 7 years as a kid, got citizenship while he was here, went home, didn't play basketball here. And I guess it opens up a bit of a topic for people to discuss about where is it going? Is it different now? Is it okay to pick somebody like this? Are we picking an all-star team and just get the most talent and go and represent Australia? Or do we still have some sort of pride? When I grew up, it was all just about playing. I didn't care about the NBA. It was just about playing for Australia. And you learn from guys like Larry Senstock, and you room with Andrew Gaze and play with Andrew Vlahoff, and guys that are just so passionate. And that's what made us successful. But is that old school now, and have the times changed?
Maybe the times have changed. I think that you have to. You're the person to ask, really. Like what would that mean? A player coming in hasn't been to Australia since he was 2 years old or something like that. He's got dual citizenship, and we're not trying to discriminate against anybody who gets to Australia, any way, shape, or form. But what's that like? He's your teammate.
It's certainly different than, say, Leroy Loggins, who calls Australia home, and Ricky Grace, 2 guys that I played with in the Australian team, and I know how much pride they had of putting on the green and gold. They see themselves as Aussies. They were passionate about representing Australia. We can't lose the value of the pride of being Australian and what it means to represent Australia. And I think we certainly have to be able to evaluate what people's motives are and how much it means to them.
All right, well, you're an expert on that, and you should be an expert on the next topic. Jack McVeigh's got a new look.
You talk about peroxide. I know more about peroxide than I do about anything else. I like it. I think I like it. A little bit more toner, Jack, though. I'd say just needs a little bit more time and a bit of toner, and it'll be good to go. But old 8 Mile. And our man in the Lakers, too. He's gone with the same look.
Oh, yeah.
It's catching on.
Yeah.
You hang on long enough,
Kuzma.
It'll come back into fashion.
All right, there you have it.
This is the Starting Five, brought to you by TCL Plex smartphones.
Bang, let's get into it right away. Let's start off with a machine gun 5. Ta, 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 ta. And with the starting 5, rumors, Adelaide 36ers and Joey Wright. Rumors can be true, can't they?
They can. Well, listen to Joey first. We'll react off it.
This time last year there was speculation about your future. 48 hours ago it resurfaced that you won't be with the club. You still have 2 years on your contract to run. What would prevent you from seeing out those 2 years?
If the club doesn't want me, then obviously I can't stay here. That's going to be up to them and their decision. But I haven't heard anything to the contrary other than finishing out my 2 years. There's a lot of speculation out there, but I'm here until they say no.
Now that sounds to me like he's setting the tone, drawing a line in the sand for negotiations to say, if you don't want me, you're paying me. Yeah. And then with Grant Kelly, the owner, saying, we'll do a review at the end of the year. We're not committing to anything right now. I haven't made any decisions. But I'm not sure why you review a coach that's got 2 years to go. So it sounds like there's something in it.
Yeah, Joey Wright's been around for a long time. He knows what to do and what to say when it comes to renegotiating. Check him out on his social media, and he lets everybody know that he's the third winningest coach in the history of the NBL. And speaking of winning ways, the Opals qualifying for the Tokyo Olympics in 2020.
Shocked.
Yeah.
No, they're superstars. We know that they've won gold medals, they've won Olympic medals, bronze, silver, all the rest of it. So they lost to France, took care of Puerto Rico and Brazil. They've qualified. and some positive signs for the Opals come the Olympics. Can't wait to watch them play.
All right. Well, not positive signs, unfortunately, for Jonah Bouldin. He's waived by the Philadelphia 76ers. The trade deadline's going up and people making some moves.
Well, interesting, really, because he was in the rotation last year, showed some really good signs that good things were happening, came back, was playing for Australia, quit on the Australian team late, and then has gone back and just hasn't found a way to be able to contribute. Where to from here?
Oh, man, tough one. You know, I think that he's that player. Like you say, he's in the rotation, so he's already in the mix of teams looking at, say, okay, who can we pick up? Maybe we can pick up a little bit of a bargain here, give him an opportunity, and let him play some basketball. So hopefully we see Jonah Bouldin really quickly back into the
Or
NBA.
G League or Europe.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's got options. When you have talent, you have plenty of options. And speaking of talent, the Cairns Taipans, apparently Scott Machado has been offered the biggest contract in the history of Cairns Taipans. I'm not quite sure how much that is.
Is that a big contract?
I know. It's a community-based program, and I'm not sure how much money they have in the bank.
But that's great. They needed to. We were saying that from the first month. Get on to him, try and make it happen. He might be settled. I think at this stage of the season, though, with the sort of interest that he is going to get, that their very best offer could be half of a big team like Melbourne United. And we know that they do like trying to cherry pick off some of the other recruiting that's happened around the league.
They have been a farm team for the bigger clubs. They just pluck guys that are on the team. Scotty Warburton was like a good player for them, and then he just bounced wherever he went to.
Big money in Europe now.
Big money because he could hoop. All right, why don't you talk about the scenarios here, and I'll tell you my opinion as you set it up for me. Set them up, and I'll mow them down.
All right, there's 3 teams left that can make the Final Four, that 4th spot. Melbourne United, I think, still are in the key position because they'll have their destiny in their own hands. They play the last game of the season. They have to beat Cairns, though. Big ask because Cairns are playing such good basketball. They're at home. If they can't beat Cairns, they shouldn't be there anyway. New Zealand only have to beat Southeast Melbourne. Mitch Creek looks like he had an injury yesterday, so we'll see whether he's going to play. I think they'll win that game by 25 points. So they're going to get their percentages right up. And then the last part of the equation is the Brisbane Bullets, who play at home against Cairns on Saturday. But as I said, if Melbourne win against Cairns, they'll get the last game at home and virtually know how many points they've got to win by, roughly, to be able to make the playoffs.
All right, those are the scenarios. Derek Rucker, our courtside correspondent in Brisbane, has his spin on it.
A lot to get through in these 60 seconds, guys. Congratulations to Coach Mike Kelly and the Taipans. Last in 2019, third in 2020. Great job. The Bullets came up small this weekend. They lost early in the round to the Breakers at home, and the season-long issue of not having a second import that can change the game, have an impact at times, has come back to bite the Bullets as we knew it would when it mattered most. Braun and Singler combined for only 15 points this weekend in 2 games and were nowhere to be found in terms of having an impact. Glidden was a bit light too. He doesn't get off the hook. I once again thought Kadib could have played more minutes. Their plus minus is very good when he is on the floor. Guys, also late in the game against Perth, the guys have a chance to positively impact their percentages. They hold on to the ball for the final 24 seconds. I don't get it. Talk to you next week.
Well, often coaches will get that wrong, won't they? They're points for, they're playing subs. You know, it's been really unclear as to whether coaches know what they're doing as far as this close race for the playoff spots.
I love the way Derek breaks it down. And he's right about those imports.
Yeah.
I mean, we've spoken about it all year, and in the biggest game that they have, the biggest weekend, they lose 2 and 15 points combined. But he's right. There was little impact across the board from anyone that wasn't named Patterson. Nearly forgot his name.
That's right. You can't hide from Derek Rucker, and you can't hide from Nick Lakovich, who's got plenty to say over in WA.
Well, round 19 had it all, and hasn't it given us so much to discuss? The playoff picture for the top 3 teams: Sydney locked away first in the minor premiership with that overtime win against the Phoenix. The Wildcats' blue-collar effort continued to show the league that the championship still comes through them. And for the Taipans, the hottest team in the NBL, winning 12 of their last 15 games, took care of the 36ers comfortably. Well, for the Breakers, the Bullets and United, it was all about survive and advance. Have the opportunity to get through round 19 with a win, and you take a step closer to securing that 4th playoff spot. Well, for the Bullets, they disappointed in losses, as we mentioned, to both the Breakers and the Wildcats. Why? a big talking point will be their inability to be able to force turnovers and be disruptive defensively, only forcing the Breakers into 8 and the Wildcats into 5. In actual fact, their last 4 games, they haven't forced a team to double-digit turnovers. They slowed their pace down and they played against the slowest paced team in the NBL against the Wildcats. So that low scoreline is a little bit of a misdirection in my opinion. So who's it going to be in the 4th spot? For me, it'll be about the New Zealand Breakers closing out the season against the Phoenix at home and securing themselves playoffs for 2020. Interested to hear your thoughts? Back to you guys.
Great stats.
Yeah.
That Lacko brings up, particularly about forcing turnovers, because again, when you go back to the Americans, that's why Andre Lamanis brought those guys in. He said, don't worry about the stats, they will affect games on the defensive end. Well, they haven't done that. But I'm going to go one step further. I think of those 3 teams, there's only one that can actually make an impact if they make the finals, and that's the New Zealand Breakers.
Yeah, because they've got the hottest guy in the league right now. I know that Cairns are the hottest team right now, but Scotty Hobson has he's gone to another level, had the opportunity to be the man, and he looks extremely comfortable with it.
And he was comfortable telling everybody that he's the MVP. Yeah. I love that too.
It ain't bragging if you can back it up. Well, one guy who normally has an impact on the playoff picture, but Paulo PK, he doesn't have anybody that's really making any noise down there. What you got?
Yeah, well, I want to talk about Melbourne's selflessness this week, which is maybe something we wouldn't have expected to talk about a couple of weeks ago. But if you have a look at their win over Illawarra, they had 7 guys scoring 8 points or more. Chris Goulding got the hot hand. He took 16 shots, but they had another 5 guys taking between 8 or 10 field goal attempts. It was a similar story against Perth 2 weeks ago when they won. And even against Brisbane when Mello Trimble got hot, he got 36 points, but he did it on just 18 shots, and behind him there was a really nice spread of offensive contributors. You know what? Dean Vickerman's tried to implement parts of the Tall Blacks' high-speed schemes this year. A lot easier for Paul Henare to do it with one of the most selfless groups in world basketball who'd been together for years. Much tougher to do with a new pro team, but that's the challenge Vickerman took on. Maybe now they're starting to get some results. They're defending better. They're still pushing the pace, but they're moving the ball and sharing the load a lot better. It's just in time. Remarkably, their playoff hopes are still in their own hands. 2 wins this weekend. They should be in the playoffs. Now remember, they've beaten every team in the comp except Cairns. If they can get that job done on Thursday night, then they go into the final Melbourne Derby knowing what's needed, a win over the Phoenix, and they're probably in the postseason.
Well, let's get into the NBL Awards. We got plenty to cover. Let's go straight to the most valuable player. Who's your pick?
I could make a case for 3 players. Hobson, Machado, and Cotton. But I'm going to give it to Cotton.
I'm going to give it to Cotton because every time it comes to the most valuable player award, people just go, yeah, Cotton's had a great year, and they start talking about somebody that has surprised them. But consistently, the way they go about it is he hits tough shots.
Yep.
They depend on him to get 20, 30 every single game. So that type of pressure in that big of a program, I got to give him that.
All right, so we agree. I like it. Next.
All right. Most improved player. I'll go with you first.
Magnay.
Okay.
Will Magnay is the most improved player. There is no doubt about that. The impact that he's had on the NBL coming from virtually nowhere and to doing what he's doing now, to me, it's not even close.
All right. I like Sean Bruce. I think that he has had an impact because Casper Ware has been inconsistent and Kevin Lish has been out. So I think that the Sydney Kings finishing on top of the ladder, largely due to the consistent play of Sean Bruce. I like that one. All right. Let's go with 6th man.
Magnay again.
All right.
Just because he didn't start enough games. Mm-hmm. But a little bit like what Tarangi did in Brisbane last year. He was the most improved, best 6th man. Let's hope that it doesn't happen to Will Magnay where he's recruited over and banished next year.
We're agreeing to disagree here because I'm going to go with Sean Bruce on this, just in case he misses out on the other award. I want him to get something because he's had a hell of a year. Best defensive player. Let's move on.
I'm going with DJ Newble.
Players. Yeah.
DJ Newble, but only because Magnay could have got that as well, but I just didn't want to be repetitive. But Newble, Not only is he a great defender, he is an underrated player. He averages 20 points a game. His defense is incredible. He's unselfish. Why isn't he looked at as one of the top imports at the moment?
Well, I agree with you, so we'll just move on to the next one. He's just a fantastic player. He's fit in just perfectly with Cairns in their successful run at the second half of the season. Rookie of the Year. Now, this one, it could be a few people for a couple of different reasons.
Has to be Ball.
Yeah, it's got to be Ball.
Who are the other two? Who are the other ones that you said it could be?
I was just the fact that he didn't stay for the whole
Plus,
season.
it's as clear as mud, the rules.
Yeah.
Seriously, about who is, who isn't, whatever, the
Who's
technicalities.
eligible? Yeah.
Because Ball was a pro in Lithuania, but he was a pro before he was 18. So you got to be 18, apparently.
Yeah. Well, again,
So,
very murky.
anyway,
but
whatever.
Ball. All right. Coach of the Year. I know, no-brainer. There's a few no-brainers here.
Mike Kelly.
From last to securing a playoff position early.
Still a chance to finish second.
Yeah.
Unlikely, but they've been unbelievable. And he's Coach of the Year on his recruiting as well, with a small budget, what they've been able to do. Other people might argue for Will Weaver or Trevor Gleeson, but with the big budgets they've got, it's still difficult to be able to manage big budgets because it's been messed up before, and all of those personalities and the talent. But what Mike Kelly has done has been incredible, and I think that everyone that doesn't barrack for a team in the 4 wants to see them win.
It's got to be unanimous, Mike Kelly.
Has to.
All right, let's go All-Star 5. Now, this one could be interesting because I think it's really guard heavy.
Okay, well, I'm going Machado as the point guard. Who you got?
Because I'm a guard.
Yeah. Machado is the point guard.
Machado's the point guard. Okay, yeah.
Cotton is the 2-man.
I agree again.
I've got Hobson as the 3.
I agree again.
I've got Tate as the 4.
I agree.
And Oliver has to be the 5.
I didn't even look. Sometimes I have a peek at Shane's stuff because he's across so much. He's there every single week. Sometimes I have a peek at his notes. Absolutely did not have a peek.
How good was Oliver on the weekend? He was incredible. For a 23-year-old, we have seen him just blossom from this immature kid that was sort of up and down, always had the talent, but he's become a great pro, and you put that down to Mike Kelly and also Machado and Newball for their sort of leadership with him as well.
Yeah, and also Oliver. I remember the game down in Illawarra, Wollongong, whatever you want to call it, where he was just absent. He was horrible, and he said, that will never happen again. I will never have an inconsistent game like that. I lacked effort. I lacked energy, all these things. Yeah. He turned his season around right there. He called it, and he did it.
He's good.
There you go. Those are what we think of the awards.
It's time now for the Unibet game preview. Who's hot? Who's not?
It's time to check the results of the Unibet betting. You are on fire. You're on fire, my man. 4 out of 5 in the wins and 3 out of 5 in the margins. If you are taking the advice of Shane the Hammer Heel over there, you're making some money.
What about those Bullets let me down? Home game against the Breakers, who were on fire, but that was the only one we missed out on. So well done to everyone who's playing at home.
That's why they call it a healthy wager. All right, let's check out the games. Cairns at Melbourne United. Big games. All these are huge games.
I find it so difficult to tip against Cairns, but with everything on the line, I'm going to go for Melbourne United. For a 25-point win or whatever they won by, they're playing against the hapless Illawarra Hawks. They were not impressive, Melbourne, but I'm going to tip them 1-10.
I'm going to go 1-10 with Melbourne United just because of the motivation that they have to get this win. They got desperate. Oh my God, they should be they should be getting every single loose ball. I mean, Cairns isn't going to lay down. They're hot. They want to take some good form into the playoffs. They're not going to lay down, but I think Melbourne United has more to play for. Southeast Melbourne going to New Zealand.
Well, the question mark is going to be around Creek and his left knee, hyperextension yesterday. New Zealand will win that 11+, but they could win that by 25+.
Yeah, that's a blowout.
Fire. They're going to go after them. And the defence of Southeast Melbourne, they are like a sieve. They cannot defend. You and I could still combine for 30 against Southeast Melbourne.
Man, I hope you'd get 25. Yeah, you'd have to carry us on that one.
Maybe we would.
Yeah, I'm catch and shoot in the corner. So if you don't guard me, I'll knock it down. All right, Illawarra Hawks at the Sydney Kings.
Not good. Yeah. Sydney's going to smash them. 11+, they could win by anything. They'll be getting some confidence up. Hopefully we'll see Lish with some more minutes as well. He needs to get himself going. Good signs, I thought, in their win because he hit a couple of threes and started to look like he's playing his basketball.
Yeah, they need him. Definitely down into the finals. Need to go deep. Cairns at Brisbane.
I am going to go for Cairns 1-10. If they lose, like we're saying, against Melbourne United, they'll want to bounce back. They'll want to end the regular season with a win, and we just love everything about them.
I don't know what motivates the Brisbane Bullets, but I just got a feeling they're going to pull this one out. Just because they're so inconsistent, and every time I say that they're going to lose, they win. So there we go, Brisbane Bullets. Adelaide 36ers at Perth, at the graveyard of visiting teams in this league.
Well, Perth need to win this game to secure second spot.
Yeah.
They're going to win this game. And it seems like there's a little bit of turmoil. Not everyone's on the same page. Uncertainty around Joey Wright. All the rest of it. They've got the capabilities to win it, but they won't win it. I think Perth win 11+.
Perth win 11+. But, man, that could secure a position where they play against Cairns. And nobody wants to come up against Cairns in the first round. That'll test you, though. All right, Melbourne United at Southeast.
Well, if they win the first game, Melbourne United win the second game. And they'll know how many points. They'll win by 11+ against Southeast Melbourne, and particularly if Creek doesn't take the court. And why would he take the court if he's hurt his knee? Why would you risk someone like Mitch Creek? Got Boomers games coming up and all the rest of it. So I think United win that convincingly.
All right, here, and there's a little tip for Mitch Creek if you're checking this out. All right, let's go to the Unibet preview for our NBA games. And it is the Greek Freak Milwaukee, and they are at Indiana.
Well, I like Indiana. They're playing some pretty good basketball. And with Victor back, he's still trying to get rid of a little bit of rust in his game. But Milwaukee are just methodical. They are going to come out of the East. They win that game.
All right, there's just expressing their dominance. I agree, Milwaukee Bucks. Miami Heat at Utah.
Iguodala. Yeah. Hey, how's that for a trade? Trade for the old fella. Comes in with the extension and all the rest of it. If they had got Gallinari, the Miami Heat, they would have been in really good shape. But I love everything about the Miami Heat. I also have a soft spot, obviously, for Utah, but I'm going to pick Miami to win in an upset on the road.
All right, the Clippers, the Clip Show, goes to Boston, play at the Garden.
Well, they have been up and down to get a 30 or 40-point spanking to the T-Wolves. Can you believe that? With a full roster, they lost that game. That was just terrible. So I'm still going to tip them against Boston because I don't think they'll allow that to happen again.
All right, that's it for our action-packed show. Remember, you can check out the show, subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Thanks to our sponsors, Unibet, TCL Plex Smartphone, and News Corp Australia. I'm Steve Carfino, Shane Hill. We'll see you next time.
This is a co-production by News Corp Australia and Closer Sports.